I like how we're split screen.
Yeah. Let's see
All right.
work. Okay.
All right. I think we're on.
Woo!
I don't know how this works with YouTube, but it might just be you and I live, and then we we end up.
All right.
I don't know. We'll figure it out somehow. I feel bad we're late, but better late than never.
No one's going anywhere.
That's true. That's true.
They shouldn't be anyway.
Well, and even if they're not here, then we can. I don't know where to look because I'm like half screen.
I know. I'm gonna look at you. I know. Where are we supposed to look?
Okay. Oh, we have viewers. Okay.
I can't see them, but okay.
Thanks everyone for joining. I'm so sorry about our technical difficulties. You would think I would be able to figure that out, but apparently I couldn't. So anyway, I am the Bexa Boss Lady. I am Rebecca. This is my dear friend, Julie. I'm sure many of you know her from Casa Chic on Instagram and her daily tips of the day, which even after 15 years of reselling, I still appreciate your tips of the day.
Oh, that's so nice.
And I agree with 99% of them. So
you could tell me when you don't.
I know. I usually text you though instead of
well, yeah,
publicly shaming you for my disagreement.
Mm.
Like other people on the internet seem to be doing.
Yeah, no, like we'll have a fight. No, but we never fight.
No,
we become friends and we never fight about anything. It's good. Yeah.
So Julie and I became Instagram friends a couple years ago. It's hard to believe it's been a couple years, but
lots of years.
Yeah, it's been crazy. Like, so we were like, you're my first ever Instagram friend.
I know, you're my first internet friend.
Well, my husband's my official first internet friend. I met him on Match.com. So I guess he's officially my first match. You can be my second.
Well, you know, I'm older. I didn't do internet dating. That's like, I met my husband before we had the internet, but there was no internet dating back then. So
I see.
I haven't met any friends, and I was so happy when I finally met you in person that you didn't catfish me. So.
I know. I did not catfish you.
No,
I really
didn't
even know. I can't keep a secret for the life. I would be the worst. Like, I have friends in DC that work for like the State Department, and I have no idea what they do, or I could never have that job because I'd be like, the first glass of wine I had, I would be like, okay, let me tell you about my job.
Well, good thing.
They would fail like the first second they tried to test me for that job. So, all right. Well, I thought it would be fun since we're not really doing anything else. I know, like, you know, the reselling world has kind of been turned upside down with this COVID and not being able to get inventory, and there's so many places selling inventory. Have you purchased any online inventory?
Well, I did. I don't like to purchase online inventory because my whole secret to my business success, and I've been selling on eBay it's 20 years this month is my eBay anniversary. And I like to hand pick my inventory. So the only thing that I don't hand pick is stuff that my consignment clients give me. And even then, if they give me stuff and I don't want to list, I give it back. But I did order a wholesale costume jewelry lot from one of the people. I don't want to say the name because I don't want to, but it was terrible. It wasn't good. I mean, it wasn't like total throwaway garbage, but it's stuff I paid like $3 an item for, and I wouldn't have in the real world paid more than $1. I wouldn't have picked out any of it. So
was it from a company or another reseller?
Yeah, from a company.
Okay.
From one of the companies that's all over the place. I think you've gotten stuff from that company. I see it all over Instagram. And it was only $75, and it was 25 pieces of jewelry. 3 came broken, and so far one thing sold for like $25, and the other stuff, it's all listed and it's all cute stuff, but it's not. So I'm waiting. I'm going to wait until I don't know when. I'm still in South Florida. Our thrift stores are closed down here.
Yeah, Connecticut.
And even if they opened up, I'm not ready to go back. I'm not ready to go back out to do anything other than essential errands right now. So even if they opened up, I'm waiting a while. So my
Well,
sales,
I don't think like even when they open, like I don't think people are going to be in a rush to go take their stuff there either because people are. I don't think as stuff opens, I think it's going to be slower to get back to normal than people think it is, and so I don't think that it's like Goodwill's open and then 1,000 people pack up all their stuff in their car. I mean, how many times have you driven around with donations in your car?
I have some in my trunk.
Yeah,
I have some in my trunk from February that I didn't take before they closed.
So I don't think there's going to be like this huge rush to go take all of your crap to the donation.
No, I do think sourcing is going to be amazing after this because, everyone's cleaning out their closets because what else are we doing? And I think even if you do retail arbitrage, places like Marshall's and Macy's and those places, when they open up, they've had stuff sitting there since March. And now we're getting into, they have their spring stuff sitting there. They're going to try to get in whatever summer stuff is in their warehouses or in cargo ships or whatever. And I think sourcing will be amazing. Whether or not people will have money to buy stuff is going to be a whole other story. So,
well, I think this is the time too when people, like regular people who aren't thrifters, are looking for deals. So for us, as far as like people trying to get stuff, buy stuff afterwards, they're more likely to buy pre-owned and thrifted items than they are to go pay retail for stuff. So in the long run, it will be better for us. It's just waiting for times.
Yes. And if we could survive it, which most resellers are surviving it, they're doing what they have to do. I think people will be thriftier in general. People who maybe didn't even buy used before will maybe be more money conscious and look to eBay. And I think eBay, especially right now, because Amazon has these longer shipping times, I think a lot of buyers are either turning to eBay for the first time or coming back to eBay.
I've been buying a lot on eBay.
Right, because it comes much faster than Amazon, which is a whole new concept.
And even like Target stuff has been 3 days here. And so, but Amazon, we have stuff the end of May. So, it's going to be interesting to see. Okay. So if you were to buy stuff online, let's say you were like desperate, you had to get some inventory. What would you look at and how would you base your decision on what you were going to buy online?
Well, I did actually buy a few things on ThreadUp too. So first of all, don't be desperate for inventory. I think that's the first thing that I would tell my sourcing. I have the sourcing school that I teach people how to become better at sourcing. Don't be desperate, because if you're buying junk, no one wants it. I mean, people aren't desperate to buy stuff. People might be bored. People might be buying stuff they need, but they're not going to buy your crap that they didn't buy before because now they can buy it. But I would avoid unmanifested liquidations. I would avoid paying more than you usually pay. So I teach my students, I think like one of my superpowers is I can turn a $5 bill into a $50 bill. So I don't spend $15, $20 for anything unless it's Chanel or Gucci or something like amazing. So when I go thrifting, I spend usually $3 to $5 and try to sell those things for 10 times what I pay for it. And I do it all day long. So I wouldn't, then go right now to some .com or even a liquidation and start paying $10, $15, $20 for items that are going to sell for $50, because there's not enough meat there with the risk. Because you always take a risk when you're sourcing that it's not going to sell, or the buyer's going to return it. And then you might, on eBay, you're going to have to pay shipping both ways if the buyer says it's not as described, even if it is, and all that. So I would say look for manifested. If you're buying a pallet or something, look for manifested so you know what you're getting. Don't be overpaying. Beware of, and I know that some resellers do great mystery boxes. I know that there's some resellers. I know you did some really good mystery boxes in the past. I would buy one from you, but
I mean, I don't have access to that inventory anymore. I mean, even like I used to have amazing places to go in Virginia and around here in Connecticut.
right.
I don't have the resources to even do those
Right.
anymore. And, you know, for me, it wasn't like, you know, I wasn't making $1 million per item. It was the fact that people were buying like 50 at a time. You
Right.
know? So you know, if I made $2 an item for 50 items, for me, that was good. I mean, I was okay with that. But yeah, I have seen a lot of stuff, and I've seen a lot of Facebook groups posts where people are like, oh, I have so much stuff in my house, I can't get rid of it. I'm just going to do mystery boxes. And I'm like, well, if you can't get rid of it and you don't want to sell
Right.
it, why would
Right.
someone else want to buy it from you to sell it? Like, that doesn't
Right.
make any sense.
Right. And if I got a pallet of stuff right now delivered to my house, and I'm still reselling individual items, you know, if I'm making mystery boxes to send to other people, I'm not putting in the stuff that's going to sell for $100.
Yeah.
You know, they're picking out the good stuff. So just beware, like the bread and butter. I know people are like, oh, well, it's bread and butter. But if you're making $2 or $3 on an item and you've had to list it and photograph it and measure it and store it and ship it, you have to sell a lot of stuff. Whereas
you really
if you're pickier,
a high volume, yeah,
very high volume. And if even like, you know, I always say, like, if you sell 5 things a day with $20 profit in them, that's $100 profit a day. That's $36,000 a year, which is a part-time, easily accomplished goal. And so if you're a stay-at-home mother, or you have a job, or you're like me, I only resell part-time, you could make $36,000 by selling only 5 things a day with $20 profit. If you want to make that same money with items that you're getting $5, you have to list so much, you have to ship so much, you have to store so much. It's so much harder. So focusing on quality items. So if you're buying from ThreadUp, or you're buying from eBay, or you're buying from Poshmark, just make sure you're buying things that are worth your time, I think would be the most, you know, and don't take such high price risks right now, because the economy, I don't know what's going to go on with the economy. We're not anywhere near done with this. And, you know,
and I have purchased a lot of stuff on NordstromRack.com that I ended up returning.
Right.
And part of that is that once I'm horrible, and I'm the first to admit, I'm horrible at like looking things up before, like, I'm just terrible at that. I feel like, you know, I don't know. I'm just terrible at it. And so, like, there was a lot of stuff at Nordstrom Rack that I thought that were great. I mean, they were great deals. They were, when I'm retail arbitraging, I look for like 85% off or more. So it's nice. And I'm going to tell you my secret. On Nordstrom Rack, you can sort by percent off. And so I had several things that I got that were amazing, but I paid like $50, $60, $80, $100 for these things. And after I got them, it took Nordstrom so long to send them to me right now that everyone and their mother had purchased them also. And so by the time I got them and listed them, the market was completely saturated with these items. And I honestly didn't want to sit on like $500 worth of inventory. And so I ended up returning. I didn't even list half of them. Once I got on and I started looking, but you know, I source a lot online at like 2 in the morning when I can't. And so I think I make very poor decisions because it's like, oh my God, I have to buy this right now. It's it's a great deal. I'm going to get it before everyone wakes up in the morning and buys it. So stupid, but it's just this mentality. And so I was like, I got to get this stuff. And then afterwards I thought, why did I buy this? And even some higher dollar purchases that I got, like at the yellow sale at TJ Maxx and Marshalls. Now I have sold those, but you know, I bought them in February. So I had a couple like Ralph Lauren jackets that I paid $99 for that were like $1,000 retail.
And
I ended up not selling them for what I thought I was going to sell them for, because obviously I'm taking pretty much any offer. So if it's a $200 item and someone offers me 120 and with fees I'll get my money back, I've been taking those kind of offers. So for me, just to get my money back, I mean, I can't go to Marshall's and return this stuff. The stores were closed. Right. So for me, it was like I had made all of these high dollar decisions back in January and February when all the Christmas sales were going on. And then, all this quarantine stuff, COVID stuff started happening in March. And then I had all sorts of money invested in inventory from that I was like, are people going to buy this? And certainly not for the price that I thought they were going to sell for, because people don't have jobs. So, I don't know. So I obviously had no idea that this was going to happen in March.
No, nobody did. February was my best gross sales month ever in 20 years of reselling. February 2020, I was like, January and February were phenomenal. Like I had such good sales and I was like, this is my year. This is my year. And then, but I think one of the things is when everyone's going left, you should go right. So if everyone that you see on Instagram or Facebook is going to NordstromRack.com or the TJ Maxx yellow sale or sourcing on ThreadUp, you need to be more creative and find places where the resellers aren't going, because we all know from the Nordstrom Rack, and I don't go to the Nordstrom Rack sale, I don't go to the TJ Maxx yellow tag sales. And if I'm ever in TJ Maxx or whatever, the only thing I'm ever buying in those yellow tags is stuff for like $1 or $2. Like I am not, because you see like the free people dressing, you're like, this is a great dress. It's $15. I'm sure I could sell it for 75 to 100. And then you get home and there's 40 of them. Yep. So,
but the other thing is there's 40 people selling it for $25.
Right. Because they don't do the math.
Or $10.
They don't do the math.
Yeah, and so it really prices you out of, because you're looking to make $40 or $50 on that item.
Right.
And there's people willing to make $10 on that item. And so that really affects, because 1,000 people bought that dress. If I buy that stuff, I only buy it if it's like one in the store. Right. So if it's like Nordstrom Rack or TJ Maxx or wherever it is, if there's like one random thing, I'll get it. And especially Nordstrom Rack, if it's an actual Nordstrom tag. So if it's, and you can tell because it'll have an actual, the tag doesn't say Nordstrom Rack on it, it says Nordstrom. And so usually those are like returns that they have to kind of stuck back in there.
Right.
And they're
the same with, like Neiman Marcus, which I heard they're closing the last call stores, which is depressing.
They are?
Yes, I heard that. That's part of their restructuring.
Out of business, and there's a freestanding one right down the street.
There's one in Boca down the street too.
Yeah.
So like Neiman Marcus last call, you would go in there and a lot of the stuff was just crap, but then you would see a rack of stuff.
There was one in our old neighborhood and I could walk to it. It was like right in our, and actually I still have a pair of Joe's jeans. They're so cute. They have love them or leave them embroidered on their pockets. I literally cannot get rid of these things. I paid like $30 for them.
I know.
And I've had them for like 2 years. I always thought I was going to lose some weight to wear them, and then I never did. So, oops.
The quarantine isn't helping any.
No, I did wear jeans yesterday just to make sure I could.
I've been wearing jeans once a week. I've been making myself put on jeans because I'm like, I can't, like, this is not good.
I even put on Lululemon leggings that I was like, because I put on my finest Abercrombie sweatpants for our interview.
Right.
So I've been wearing sweatpants like every day. And my husband, who's working from home now, is also, I bought him some like athleisure pants, like golf track pants. That's what he's been wearing. Because he has to, in his office, he has whiteboards all around. So he has to stand up occasionally. But I tried to get him some like comfortable pants so he wouldn't be, having to wear his dress pants. Also, our house that we rented has 2 washers and dryers. There's one downstairs.
Ooh, that's nice.
Well, both washers are broken at the same time. And it's like, so now I have to wait till next week to get the one up here fixed. And then the ones downstairs they have to replace, and it won't come till the end of the month. So my walk-in little closet is just like a mountain of dirty clothes. It's so
Wow.
I have
My kids are both home from college, so the laundry, I forgot. I forgot how much laundry. Like I'm doing laundry, and then I'm looking, and it's like the faster I do it, the pile just keeps getting. It's like a cartoon, you know.
It never ends. I mean, it never ends.
No. I know. But my husband's office is super casual. He can wear a t-shirt and jeans. In general, it's like workplace casual. So, but he puts on every morning he puts on his clothes like he's going to work. And I'm like, that's so smart. So,
that's a good idea.
Weird. So weird.
Okay. What's the strangest thing you've purchased online for yourself during quarantine?
Corona? Oh, I just purchased. I mean, every day it's like something weirder and weirder. Today I purchased, or the other day I purchased, I think it's coming today, is it looks like a piece of metal, and you can use it to open doors or to push the elevator button. Because I live in an apartment building, and meanwhile, no one in my apartment building wears masks anywhere. And my whole family's wearing masks. We have a brother that's an ER doctor. We're all wearing masks. Yeah. And so in the elevator, I'm wearing if I have to go in the elevator, which I've been trying to take the stairs, I'm wearing like the good mask. And no one else, people are trying to get in the elevator with me with no mask. And so I keep going, I'll get the next one. And I run out, and they're probably like, who is this crazy old lady with a mask? But but I have to push the elevator button and open a lot of doors. So I don't know if that's going to be good, but that's definitely a crazy. And we bought a UV light thing to sanitize the cell phones, which seems insane.
I saw that thing, at first I thought it was like a thing for women for parking lots. Like, so
you could probably
like gyms.
You could.
But because people are spraying the machines, and it's like they're spraying like ATM machines and machines with Lysol and stuff, and it's breaking the machines. And so I saw an article that was like 5 things you can use instead of like, I don't know, instead of like sticking your finger on everything and spraying it. It was like,
that's what it is.
Use because people are ruining all these electronics by spraying them with the Lysol.
You could use it at a keypad. You could use it as when you sign which that's the greatest invention, is like my American Express card has the thing, you probably could steal it because it's got that whatever, so you don't have to even insert it. You just kind of put it in front of the machine. I'm like, that's the best thing ever. Yeah. But that's, I guess. And I bought Johnny Was face masks, which seems ridiculous. I'm sure they don't. I just got a shipping notice yesterday, and I'm like, oh, maybe they'll come for Mother's Day. I can give one when I drive by and throw the card out at my mom's house. Give her one, but I don't know if they're going to come in time. But that seems stupid because I'm sure they probably won't keep one bit of dust even out of my face. But those are 2 dumb quarantine purchases.
I've been like really into skincare. I don't know why, but part of the Nordstrom Rack purchases that I've been making are like high-end skincare line stuff that like Pericone and Murad and like all this stuff that they've had. And so I have been breaking out since I had my hysterectomy, and I've really been struggling with trying to find products that like will stop these pimples. And so I bought on Amazon this like, I can't believe it. It's like a vacuum for your pores.
Oh, I sold one of those.
You did?
I found one day.
You like put it on your nose. It's like, it like sucks out all the stuff from your pores.
I didn't try it. It was new. It was like $5, and I saw they were selling for a lot of money. So I didn't even, it was new. I just sold it, but I probably should have tried it because I could use it. Let me know how it works. I might now have to go buy one.
It was an Amazon late night purchase, and I was like, oh. Okay, I'm going to try this. But that's, I think, the strangest thing.
I mean, and I'm trying, my husband, like when this all started, I mean, my husband, like your husband, is not a reseller. He's never even bought anything on eBay. And he has a job, and it's all good over there. But he was like, when this started, he's like, we're not spending any extra money on anything now. It's like, we're on a freeze. We're buying food. We don't know what's going to happen, which, I'm older. We went through the 2008 thing. Like, we're like, batten down. So I'm
Yeah.
not supposed to be buying anything. So I'm like, have to hide. He's gonna be like anything like that doorknob thing. He's gonna love. He's gonna.
Oh, yeah,
I'm probably having to buy him one
yeah.
because he's very dirty. But anything else I'm buying, I have to kind of be like, ooh, never mind, never mind, because we're supposed to be on a buying.
I tell him it's for my business.
Right, that's true. It is. Well, you might end up being for your business eventually. I bought like a Lululemon fanny pack the other day, a bigger one than the one I have. Well, because I thought when we do go back thrifting, even at I'm never going to the bins again. Forget that. That's germy enough to start with.
I can't do the bins. I don't know how you.
But I feel like the thrift stores I go to are in rough neighborhoods.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like politically correct, but they're in rougher neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And I feel like crime is going to go up after this. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to need a fanny pack to keep my wallet and phone in so I can just run in my car.
I've taken a fanny pack thrifting.
Oh, really? I always have a crossbody, but I think so. I got so I'm like, oh, this is for work. That's a work expense. I don't know. I don't know.
I was like, IRS is going to be like, ma'am, could you explain this $50 fanny pack and why that's a business expense? And then you'd be like, let's go to the bins and I'll show you why.
Well, I haven't been to the bin. I'm not a bin shopper generally, but I pop in. And the last time I was at the bins, it was so gross. And somebody sneezed on a bin, and I was like, oh, that's the end of that. And that was pre-quarantine. That was in January. So I don't think I can ever go back to the bins. I'm not a big bins fan to start with because I feel like you could spend hours and hours and hours, and I'd rather spend 2 hours in a regular thrift store and come home with a couple $100 of stuff that I can turn into a couple $1,000 versus go to the bins and make a couple $100.
I do think that there are good bins. I do.
Yeah,
I think that there are people. I don't know.
Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, you said, our bins would probably be really good because our prices here are so expensive.
Yeah,
and I went. True. It was like Garbageville.
I think you have to stay for 8 hours at a time. So if you spend the 8 hours in there, you're bound to come home with a car full of stuff. But I have no energy, patience. Yeah. And now you're probably going to have to wear the mask. And I'm just wondering if I'm going to be able to thrift with that mask because the good mask is very uncomfortable.
Well, and sweat. I just break out in sweat. Right. I mean, the first time I wore because I have an N95 mask that I bought when this whole, when China started getting it, I bought one. I was like, I don't need 1,000 of these. I just need one. I ordered Aaron and I both one. And the first time I went to the grocery store, I wore it. And there was a pool of sweat. It was disgusting. I was so hot. And by the way, if your breath smells, and you wear one of those, you will know if your breath. You will never have. If you ever if you're a single person, you're going out, you're going out or something, and you're like, man, I really need to know if my breath smells. Just put one of those masks on because you will immediately know how strong your breath is if you put one of those masks on because they are so gross.
I when I do wear it, I went to Trader Joe's this morning to get some food and it was so empty and so delightful. But that mask, I've got maybe a 15-20 minute till I'm I can't breathe. I'm having a panic attack. I don't know how I'm going to be able to even thrift. And smelling is part of my thrifting. I always smell everything because I have a really good nose. And so when something stinks, I don't smell like smoke or mildew. So the good mask you can't smell. So it's going to be challenging. But we got to get back to business sometime too.
I was so excited. I moved to Connecticut. There's supposed to be all these flea markets, all these outdoor markets, the estate sales. People are like, oh, it's going to be so fun in the summer. You're going to get to go and have coffee and walk around and go bargain with people. And I'm like, I haven't been out of my house in 80 days. So,
well, maybe by the summer, outdoor here, everybody, we drove down the beach, and the beaches are still closed in South Florida.
Yeah.
But the sidewalks and stuff are open, and they even closed part of the road so people could ride their bikes and walk. And it was so packed, and everyone just wants to be outside. So I'm sure they will open that soon enough, and it's outside. And I feel like going to a flea market would be much less
But you and I
dangerous than
both
going to
live
a
in
store.
like horrible COVID areas.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
we live in very high infection
yeah.
rate areas. So you and I are probably going to be the last that are allowed out. You know,
Well,
especially
Florida,
me being
yeah,
so close to New York City.
yeah.
And actually the county that I'm in Connecticut has over half of the entire
Ooh,
half the cases for the entire state of Connecticut are in our area. It's not good.
ooh.
So I've just been really like, you know,
Well, my down Florida has actually been doing well. Like the amount of cases, they thought it was going to be like another New York because 30% of the population in Florida is over 60 or whatever.
yeah.
But people in Florida are really stupid. Like, so if they open the beaches, it's going to look like spring break. So they're just, I think, putting it off as long as possible, because the day it opens, it's going to look like Grand Central, like, so, I noticed the people in my community are really not social distancing very much. And that's unfortunate, but,
Well,
everyone's
I
just
have to
sick of
be
being
really
home.
careful with my health. So
Yeah.
I don't have, because I have these chronic health issues, I can't just like wing it.
You don't want to get it. No, and I mean, I have older parents. My husband has older parents. I mean, we don't need this. We don't need to be getting this. So,
No.
hopefully, I mean, I kept thinking, oh, well, by the end of the summer, we'll be back to normal, but I don't know. And I have kids that need to go back to college. I have a husband who needs to go back to his office.
You went from empty nesters to full-time parents in like a week.
Right. And we moved to this, you've been to my house. We moved to this tiny apartment thinking, oh, they'll just come home for a week at a time, and they're here. But, working at home.
Storage unit. Aren't you so glad you have a storage unit? Could you imagine?
I love it. And I'm so glad it's open. And it seems to be the safest place on earth because it's like going to the moon. No one's ever there. It seems so clean. And my husband's like, oh, are you wearing the good mask to the storage unit? And I'm like, I'm wearing the easy to breathe mask because it's got to be the safest place in town. But, like I work at home. Most resellers work at home. Yeah. And we're used to being home, but we're not used to being home with everyone here, with the Zoom meetings going on so loud. And,
nice. It is kind of nice to have people here. But
well, yes.
Okay. I have a house now with 2 people and a dog living in it. So at least I can get away from it.
I know. We're crowded here. But, my husband has been practicing his cooking, and he was a good cook to start with. And like, he's been serving restaurant quality food because he's enjoying the cooking. So it's good for that, I guess.
Okay. So let me ask you a reselling question. So, you have your sourcing school on Patreon or whatever it is. And what would you say, like, can you give us your, like, maybe either your number one tip that you kind of like continue to reinforce, maybe it's something you share on Instagram, or like something that you, over the years, your 20 years of reselling, like what's something that you have consistently always picked up that is a good seller, that sells quickly, or that you like, like give us some insight into that.
Well, I really, I think resellers get off track when they just think about a brand name, or I'm only going to pick up jeans, or I'm only going to pick up, brands I've heard of. Like I'm looking for Eileen Fisher, I'm looking for Free People or whatever. And there are Eileen Fisher pieces that can resell used for $200. And there's Eileen Fisher pieces that could sit in your eBay store or your Poshmark closet for 3 years and no one wants them at any price. Yeah. So you really need to learn not just the brands, but the styles, the sizes, the colors, and not overpay for inventory. I think that's really what sourcing school. I don't talk about what I'm buying. I only talk about what I've sold during the week before and why I picked it up or why it sold for so much or why it didn't sell for very much. And the nuances is really important. And so I see people sometimes they'll show a haul and they'll be like, look, I got this Anthropologie t-shirt and I got this whole rack of Anthropologie. And there's some Anthropologie pieces that are unicorns that sell within a minute for great money.
Right.
But most Anthropologie, you know, there's one day I did a study, like 3,600 pieces of Anthropologie, something like crazy. And the sell-through rate is really low. And
but with Anthropologie, what's interesting is that, you know, we both joined Instagram around at the same time.
Right.
And I feel like a few years ago, you could buy an Anthropologie piece and put it up and it would sell very quickly because people didn't know what brands were under the Anthropologie umbrella, right? So what is happening with my light? I don't know. So it's like, you know, no one knew that like Dolan was an Anthropologie.
Right.
It was like a secret that as a reseller, you knew that those were Anthropologie brands, right? Well, then over the years, you've seen people sharing guides to Anthropologie pricing or to all the brands, showing pictures of all the labels.
Right.
So obviously there's going to be a much more saturated market because now people know that Moth and you know, all of those brands are now like Pilcrow, you know, those are Anthropologie brands. Right. And even now they're putting Anthropologie on the brand tag.
Right. Yeah, I know. I've seen that.
So that even makes it
it's like one of those things, right?
Yeah.
Right. And I think more people, since we've been on Instagram, have started going to thrift stores, have started reselling. Poshmark's made it so easy for people to jump into reselling because you don't need to worry about the shipping and the weight and everything. So, I mean, that's really, I think my number one tip, and that's my first tip in sourcing school. I have a whole little video, like stop watching haul videos. We all like to watch them. I love to watch your haul videos, but if you don't know what you're doing, a haul video can confuse you and put you off track. You need to pay attention to what's selling.
That I think are amazing, and then they never sell.
Right. But I like watching your haul videos because I'm friends with you. But there's a lot of bad haul videos.
I try to provide some education in my haul videos too. Like, I'm not just like, look how awesome this is. I try to like at least give a little bit of reasoning, like why I picked it up or how to fix something or you know, that kind of stuff. So what's the biggest thing you bought that was like a huge bomb?
Like, there's always a bomb.
Yeah, but do you have like one thing that you bought that you're just like, why did I buy this?
For a while I was doing stuffed animals. And stuffed animals. And I still have a Facebook group where people post their stuffed animal buys, but I was buying just like grab bags of stuffed animals, and some stuffed animals sell for a lot of money, but I don't have the patience. And the stuffed animals are really slow sellers. So unless somebody's looking for it, and like, I just was like, why am I selling stuffed animals? Like, I don't like stuffed animals. Like, I don't want to make $5 on something. I have no problem if you want to make $5 on something. That's not my business model. I don't have enough time in the day to be making $5 on an item. And so I really left those behind. So I don't know if they were bombs.
I do that with hard goods. Like, I'm always like, you know, I'm going to get into hard goods. You know, you watch other resellers on Instagram and I'm like, oh, I'm going to buy like Raydon and I'm going to buy this. And then every single time I go to either photograph it or take pictures of it, I'm like, why did I buy this? Like, every time I grab a stupid Raydon cookie canister, I am like, why the hell did I buy this thing? Because I don't like selling these. I don't like wandering around the thrift store looking, because I don't know anything about them. Like, I buy most of my stuff at Target. Like, so I have like good home. I mean, besides the obvious like Pottery Barn and Crate and Barrel and that kind of stuff. I mean, I would not even know if it was like a fancy silver platter versus like a Target silver platter. Like, I don't know the difference. Every single time I go in, and I like look at, I'll like flip over 4 things and I'm like, I'm done. Like, honestly, I'm like, it's not something obvious. I just don't like. The only thing I are those Starbucks mugs that are like, the Starbucks mugs are like, you know, Poland or whatever. They're like international ones, those are pretty much the only thing I really look for.
I always look at the hard goods, but I tried to make my second store, my Casa Chic store, because I have 2 eBay stores. I tried to make that a hard goods store. And I don't like selling hard goods. I hate shipping anything breakable. Hate it, hate it, hate it. And so I've just really kind of given up on that. And I turned my hard goods store into more like jewelry. So I've been selling a lot of jewelry in there, fashion jewelry. And I like that. That's so easy to ship. I like listing it. I like looking it up. I like learning about it. Where the hard goods and my thrift stores, the pickers look at the hard goods in my thrift stores. They don't always know the fashion, and like they'll pass by a rack, they'll look at a rack, and I'll be like, oh, I guess I'll look at it. But I know those people are resellers. I'm going to go look at that rack, and they leave stuff behind that they don't know what they're doing with fashion, but they know they're hard goods. So I'm not a hard, but they sell, like people who know what they're doing, make good money with hard goods. You should really focus. If you don't like clothes or you don't like shoes, you shouldn't sell them.
Yeah,
you shouldn't sell them because
and I think
it looks the same to you.
Your burnout too, because I notice that when I start venturing away from what I know, it's not like fun or enjoyable. Then it becomes a job. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just like, and so even if I can't do it. And I see so many people that find stuff like, and I don't think these people are resellers. I think she's a designer, but I think I've showed you her thing. It's like there's a Palm Beach woman that
I love her
stuff, but I think she's an interior designer because I don't think she's like going to thrift stores and finding those things.
I think she might work for the thrift stores too, because sometimes she posts stuff. Yeah. She's got some great looking stuff. Yeah.
And I'm always like, ooh, I love this. And then I'm like, I would never find that in a thrift store.
I think if I found it in a thrift store, I probably wouldn't even look at it. Like you have to put it together with all the other stuff. Like she'll show a trunk full of like blue and white pottery. And you're like, oh my God, I love that. But I feel like if you saw one piece in the thrift store, I don't know, you have to have an eye. I'm not really an interior decorator eye. So it all kind of looks the same to me. I like shoes, handbags, clothes.
I love shoes. Shoes are they're like jewelry. I feel like they're so easy. And I don't know.
I love shoes. And shoes are fit even when you're in quarantine. The shoes still fit.
Shoes. Actually, now that I've gained like 50 pounds, my 6.5 shoes don't fit me anymore. Now I have to wear 7s. So I've had to sell a lot of my smaller shoes. Yeah.
Well, that happened when I had a baby. My feet got bigger.
I have chubby feet and cankles. Well, you know what's so weird is I've always had. No, even when I was super skinny, I had cankles. Like I don't have, like, my husband has these super defined, like heart looking, calves that you can like see the definition. And mine's just like need a foot. Like it's just, even when I was a kid, my legs, and they're just like poles. They're like flamingo poles. They're just like these straight things.
No.
Straight. I hyperextend. So like my arms are crooked, like everything is bowed. Yeah, I'm a mess when it comes to that stuff. But shoes, I love shoes so much.
Okay, so these shoes, wait, let me show you. These shoes are the Allbirds ballet flats. These are the best purchase ever. They were only like $95 and they're so comfortable. And like,
are they better than did you buy Rothy's?
No, I have never bought Rothy's because my sister is 3 years younger than me, and she buys anything that you see like on Facebook. Like she buys Teaks and Rothy's. She buys whatever is hot. She tells me. So she said Rothy's weren't comfortable. So I didn't. She said she didn't like her Teaks either.
I don't really have anywhere to wear. I'm not wearing any nice shoes to the grocery store. So
no.
I have dance coats that I wear everywhere. And so I have these dance coats. I mean, they don't look like, I have dance coats that look like normal slip-on sneakers that I wear. Cool. I wear them. I have worn them out. They are the most comfortable shoes, especially when you're like standing on your feet going through racks and stuff. Because I've worn flip-flops and my ankles hurt so bad afterwards. I mean, obviously tennis shoes, but these Danskos are my goat. Plus, we had a dog that ate them up a little bit, so I don't really, there's like around the corner, there's like a little shoe mark on them. So I'll wear those to the thrift store. I don't care.
All right.
But what else? You want to talk about anything else?
I don't know. I'm sick of being inside.
I probably should join your. I've been meaning
my sourcing school is $10 a month, and I post a video usually on Fridays where I talk about what's sold during the week. And my husband doesn't pay attention. And this week he goes, "Do you even have anything to talk about?" And I'm like, "Yes, because stuff is still selling," which is amazing. Amazing.
Oh,
and I've sold
last month, my sales are the best last month out of probably the last 3 years.
Amazing. And I've sold things like a $1,500 handbag last week. Like, I'm like, who is buying this? Where are they going? And
I almost asked you if I could go on like a layaway plan with that Gucci bag you had.
I know. That's for my best friend. I know. I wanted to be like, can I keep this? Like, this is my best friend's one of my consignment clients. I know. Maybe if I have good sales, I could buy it. But I talk about what sold the week before and why I picked it up and why it sold and how much I paid for it and if it was from a client or from sourcing. And then I do bonus videos. This week I'm working on one. I don't know if it's going to be up this week or next week about selling on ThreadUp, because I know a lot of people are trying that. And so I have some tips about selling on ThreadUp.
They have such long lead time though.
ThreadUp takes a long time.
They're allowing 45-day returns. So if you need cash right now,
no,
not really.
It's for stuff. It's really, I mean, the spoiler alert, most of the, I know there are people that make money on ThreadUp. I don't know how much money they make, because you don't know how much money anybody makes, right? And it's so funny because, you know, I'm old. I have friends who are successful that have been in business a long time. I have no idea what any of my friends make. I would never ask them. I don't know how much salary anybody makes. And like, resellers love to tell how much they make. And so they love to tell their gross sales. So everyone's like, "Oh, here's my sales from yesterday." There's somebody I follow that's like $6,000 of sales yesterday. And I'm like, but that doesn't mean they made $1. So,
well, and even right now, I'm like, because I sold everything when we moved, I had to start from zero in January. Right. So even though I've sold like $30,000 worth of stuff, my business is still in the hole, like $4,000, because I have purchased so much inventory. That, I mean, it will sell. I have like 1,000 things now that are for sale. So it's almost good I'm not buying anything right now, because it's gone down and I've been able to recoup a lot of my money. But you know, it's like, I would never be like, "Hey, I'm so profitable right now," because that.
Right. So you have no idea. Somebody could say, they show a big pile of packages, and you're like, that doesn't mean, like, you know, the day that I took that Chanel bag to the post office, I had one box, but it was a $1,500 box with a lot of profit in it. So, you know, I always tell people, don't pay attention to the noise. Pay attention to your own numbers. Like, I took your data course.
I mean, you don't have to do a lot of math to figure out that, you know, even if you do $100,000, let's say you do $100,000 in sales a year, you figure you have 20% of fees and maybe shipping. You know, you've got your cost of goods, you've got all the other things people pay for, mileage, your time that you spent doing it, right? Plus, then you got to pay taxes.
Yep.
And then
you got to make a lot of money.
Paying yourself, you have to pay. So, you know, if you're looking at $100,000 in sales, or these people on Amazon, they're like $1 million a month, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, but Amazon takes a ton of that. You had to buy a whole bunch of inventory. How much inventory do you have? You know,
well, remember there was
like I have a $4,000 loss right now, but I also have $50,000 worth of inventory. So it's eventually I'll make my money back, you know, but it's like, you know, the people that are buying and selling a lot, Amazon are spending
Amazon takes a lot
of money
upfront. You know, like, those some of those big time Amazon sellers, like remember there was one that was like, oh, I sell $1 million, and then they were like looking for a roommate. So it's like, okay, like something's not adding up here. So you need to crunch your own numbers. You need to make sure your own business, because when I started out, and I'm not, I don't consider myself a dumb person, but I'm not a numbers person. And I was doing my consignment business when I first started out. And then Bloomingdale's would have like friends and family sales. And I would go buy Kate Spade bags. And this is like when Kate Spade was super, super hot, like when Kate Spade was still
Yeah.
designing for Kate Spade. And I would go buy a bag for like a $300 bag for $100. And I would sell it for maybe $200. And I was like, oh, and my husband looked at my books. He's like, you made like $50. You didn't even make it, like after your fees and stuff, you made like $25. Like, don't spend $100 on something to then bring home 25 after you pay your fees and costs. So, and that's when I learned really early on to really, I keep a spreadsheet every day. I have my sales every day of what's selling and what my cost of goods were. That doesn't go to an accountant or anything. That's just my own personal spreadsheet every day.
Right.
That every month I see like, okay, so my sales are here. What's my cost of goods? So I can kind of see like, oh, if I'm having a really good sales month, but I'm like, wow, my cost of goods was really high. You really need to keep track of your numbers, crunch your numbers,
Yeah.
because it's too much work not to be making decent money. If you're working 7 days a week.
Excuse me.
Go ahead.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Like my cost of goods total in Virginia was like $7.50. Like, cause I do retail stuff. So
Right.
if you add all that up and
Right.
divide, it's about $7.50.
Right.
But here I don't have like 50% off days to counter the higher stuff. So, my cost of goods here right now is $10. So it's like, I don't, I have to watch what I'm buying now, and then when I do have the opportunity to get stuff, I'm trying to get it, in a higher volume. Like if I go to the thrift store and they're having a 25 off day, I'm there like for hours.
Right.
Trying to find the things that are the lower cost stuff. So it's hard.
I think going forward, because we're going into a new normal now, right? We don't know what the future is going to look like in terms of, we see that people are still buying online, which is great. And I think people are going to enjoy buying online and keep buying online. And stores, they said a lot of malls are going to be in big trouble after this, because if the department stores close, the other stores have in their contracts that they don't have to pay as much rent. So if one of the anchor store closes, their rents go down. So malls that were already in trouble are going to be done. So people really will be buying online more. But I think being really careful when you source is a really good way to jump back into when we do start thrifting, when we start going to garage sales, when we start doing retail arbitrage, not just to pick up stuff, to really spend your time in the thrift store. I always say you're better off spending a couple of hours more a week sourcing and really find stuff.
We were there, what, 3 hours a piece? I mean, we were there. We went all day that one day.
Oh yeah, remember that? That was fun. But really paying attention, really being careful when you're sourcing and not buying stuff, really checking for flaws, really making sure you're not picking up stuff that's going to sit for years or months or whatever, really not overpaying. And I think that's how to be successful in the future doing this. And I realize now people are just buying pallets and buying mystery boxes because they feel like they want something to list. But once you can get out in the wild, really, and like if you have little kids and you can't get out every day, get a sitter one day and go all day, and go hit 10 thrift stores and really find things that are going to be great, because the better stuff you have in your store or your Poshmark closet, the more people come to you too. So that's part of the reason I do consignment work, because I make much less, because I pay my clients way more for my inventory. But when I have those Chanel bags in my closet, or I have that Gucci bag gets a ton of people looking at it, a ton of people sharing it on Poshmark.
Right.
And so maybe they don't have the $2,000 to buy the Gucci bag, but they're coming into my Poshmark closet or my eBay store and they're like, what else has she got? Oh, she's got shoes for $50. I can afford that today. So really making sure your closet isn't full of a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
And like when you go on eBay, and I do this all the time, and not as much, I don't shop that much on Poshmark, but because I find Poshmark hard to shop on. But eBay, I always like, if I see you're selling something really cool, I might add it to cart, or I might just like it or watch it. But then I always click see sellers other items. And if you've got a bunch of stuff from Walmart, no offense, I'm clicking back. But if I'm like,
Right.
whoa, look at all this cute stuff you have.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No, I agree. I think that, yeah, it's, and then you'll see, like right now, everyone's doing these like porch pickups and stuff, which, it's fine. But most of the things that I've seen are people's garbage that they're just putting out, on the porch, and you're doing all the work to get rid of and sort and do all this stuff. I will say one thing is I have considered this, and if someone else wants to steal this tip, I don't care. But reach out to consignment stores right now, because they are closed and they are hurting for money. And at least, on a consignment store or Plato's Closet or Clothes Mentor or one of those places, if you can get a hold of a manager or the owner of the store, you'll be able to get some inventory from them, because they are really going to be trying to, right now their inventory is winter, and it's when they reopen, it's going to be summer. And so if you're okay with getting some, fall and winter clothes for great pricing right now, at least that stuff in the consignment store has been like looked through or vetted.
Yeah.
It doesn't have holes and stains and everything else all over it, like if you bought a Goodwill box or something like that. So, try to reach out to people in different towns and,
That's a good idea.
I know your business might be, closed right now. You don't have the income, but I need money for my store. So, can I buy at like $5 a piece or whatever, whatever it is.
Right.
But, they might be interested in doing that just to get some cash in for their business.
Yeah, I'm wondering if all of my little honey holes are going to open back up, because I had retail businesses from like 2004 to 2011. So I went through the recession. I had 3 stores, had nothing to do with my reselling business. And if I was out of business for 2 or 3 months, I would have never been able to open back up. Like I would have just been so far in the hole, and so small businesses run like on a very, very short leash. And so I'm wondering, there may be thrift stores just that don't open back up because they don't pay their rent. They couldn't pay their rent. They couldn't survive this. So I'm sure Goodwill and places like that, maybe not every location, but it may be a different environment when you go back out there. I'm hoping my honey holes survive, but you never know. So they may be like, you may be able to call them.
Even like clothing boutiques, like, small locally owned boutiques that have new tag stuff. I mean, they might even be able to just recoup their costs. If they're like, hey, I paid wholesale,
absolutely,
and they want to get their money back. I think it's time to think outside of the box. It's been 2 months that we've been sitting at home.
Yeah, and they probably paid for inventory to ship. Because when you go to trade shows, I mean, this, when you go to trade shows, and for my businesses, I would go to trade shows, but most of the stuff I'd order was already in stock because my business wasn't very seasonal. It was accessories, jewelry, things like that. So it wasn't seasonal. But clothes stores, they'll go to market in March and order stuff and pay for it to show up in June or July or whenever. Yeah. So these stores have already, they may be in, I can't imagine. I know that even like when we would have a hurricane come and shut down our stores for a couple of days, the hurricane didn't hit, but everything was closed for a couple of days or the power was out. It was so hard to you never make back those days.
No.
And so I don't know how I think retail is going to be,
I just saw that Nordstrom is closing like 15 stores.
Yep.
Not their rack stores, like actual
Yeah.
Nordstrom stores. They're closing some of them, which I never thought that would ever happen ever.
And I'm like, how
But
are we
I
ever
think
going to Sephora? Like, how are we going to go to Sephora and put makeup on? Like, we're never going to want to do that. Like, it's going to be interesting.
I think Sephora would last through an apocalypse. Like, I think there would be
but
zombies in Sephora if there were.
Yes, but you're not going to go put your finger in the thing and put it on your face after this. I don't know.
But I'm saying people will still be going to Sephora.
They'll still do it.
They might not be sticking their fingers in the pots, but they're going to be going to Sephora. I think
right?
Like
they just opened up one down the street from me, like a standalone, like in a strip center. Like there's a strip center near me that like has like Lululemon and Sephora. Like you don't have to go to the mall. And I'm like, they just opened Sephora. I can't go near that plaza. That's a bad.
That's like a double whammy, Lululemon.
Yeah, no. I got to keep driving by, but but so it should be interesting to see. So hopefully, I'm sure maybe nonprofit thrift stores, like the ones that are really charities, like church-run ones and ones with hospitals, right? They'll still be in business, but I don't know if like, the ones that are like not really, they pick up stuff for free and they say they're for the vets or breast cancer or whatever, but they're not really they're for profit stores. It should be interesting to see if they can maybe they make so much money that they can reopen. But I know Savers closed a lot. We don't have Savers down here, but they closed in a lot of locations. It should be interesting to see what happens.
That her Plato's closed.
They closed for good.
I mean, yeah. And I ordered a couple ThredUp shoe boxes, which by the way, they don't even have on their website anymore. And they sent me an email saying they're a 6-week delay because they're so understaffed and overwhelmed.
Yeah. Well, I got something on ThredUp that was defective and it said like new. And I emailed them and usually they email back fast and they haven't emailed me back in 2 days. They must be having issues.
Well, I'm kind of disappointed. So my husband loves Michael Jordan. Like that's his like lifelong icon.
Right.
Human. So there's the new ESPN 30 for 30 that's all about the last dance, Michael Jordan.
Right.
And so I was really excited. I'm gonna show you what I got. On the Real, they had this men's Jordan bomber jacket. So I was really super excited about this for my husband.
Wow, that's exciting.
Well, it's a kid's. It's not a men's. This thing wouldn't even fit me as an extra large. So this is definitely not a men's.
Well, they'll take it back.
Yeah, but I gotta pay $12 to ship it back. That's
no, they shouldn't. Was it advertised as men's?
Yeah.
Then you could email them. They shouldn't make you pay the shipping.
All right.
That's not as described.
Well, that's the option that I picked for like why I was.
You have to email them because I've had that happen with Real when I order stuff.
Right. Well, I was so he loved it. And I'm like, well, unless you're gonna lose 80 pounds. Unless your shoulders are gonna like spontaneously like shrink in a little bit, this is not gonna fit you.
Do they sell kids stuff on the Real? I think they do.
Yeah, I bought my niece some like Chloe sweaters they had after Christmas. They were like $20. Like when how they sometimes have like 80 sales. So I got her a couple, I think like 2 Marc Jacobs sweaters and a Chloe cardigan. It was really cute.
I stopped selling on there because they would just run these crazy sales. My stuff that I thought I was going to get good money for, like $15. I'm like, I could sell that for myself or make that much money. But the Real is like was my biggest competition because a lot of the girls that I used to do consignment for started selling on the Real, and I was like,
they come to your house.
They come to your house, and they like if you sell enough stuff, they give you 60%.
Yeah.
Versus I take 50%. And one of my friends actually has a stylist, and she calls it the Closet Girl. And I was at her house one day, and I was picking up some stuff, and the stylist was there, and she was like, "Well, why should people send it to you and not the Real?" And I was like, "Because I'm a small business."
Because
She's so mean, that stylist. So think the stylists, they give stylists kickbacks.
Oh,
So I don't have very many friends with stylists, but believe it or not, there are some women that I know that they use like one or two girls that they come like when they're going to a wedding or they're going on vacation or something. They come and
I
they
need
bring
to
them
get
clothes.
diamond closets that are like a size 12 for me, please. Like,
Yeah.
stop buying people's stuff that's a 0 because I'm never going to be that size again.
Well, my best clients are tiny, tiny, tiny
Oh,
girls.
bummer.
And when you're tiny, you buy a lot of stuff because
I know.
everything looks good. So they buy a lot of stuff and they don't need a lot of stuff. My favorite client is like maybe a 0, and she's tall. So her jeans are all like tall and skinny.
And she has bigger feet, right? Too.
She has size like 8 feet. She's got good size
like I
feet.
can't even buy any of the shoes either.
No, but she's got like amazing dresses and stuff, and they're so tiny. I'm like, hold them. They're like Barbie clothes. They're so small.
I had a box of stuff. So when I was doing fitness competitions and I owned my gym, I was like a size 2, and I still had a box of stuff from then in our old apartment. And when we moved to Connecticut, I opened it up and I was like, I mean, the bathing suits are like this big. My butt fit in that. Like, that is impossible. Like, now one cheek wouldn't even fit like in that bathing suit. And it wasn't that long ago, but
Well, they say, a lot of people I hear on like Instagram and stuff, they say, oh, only big sizes sell. But for expensive clothes, small sizes really are the way to go. People who are really tiny.
I just sold a pair of size 24 frame jeans. So,
yeah.
I mean,
I know the more expensive, the skinnier.
Yeah.
The richer, the skinnier. So
there are skinny minis out there.
Down here, there's a lot of skinny minis. Like South Florida, you get like, the women are like really fabulous, like probably in Connecticut too. Skinny, fabulous people. So you maybe should do some consignment up there. I bet there's a lot of women with some good closets in your neighborhood.
Oh my God. You can't even buy, you can't even really buy a nice house around here for less than $1 million. It's
right. So you need to become friends with those girls when you can be out of quarantine.
There was a house that I saw kind of around where we want to be, like, because I've been looking in case we want to buy a house, and it was like 1,500 square feet with 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and it wasn't even updated. Like, the kitchen had like 80s cabinets in it, and they wanted like $790 for it.
Yeah, that's like Miami.
In Ohio, Florida, for $790, you can get a mansion.
I know.
You can get like a 20,000 square foot house. It's insane.
I know. Where I live in Fort Lauderdale, like the houses, the closer you get to the beach and the water, like really crappy little houses are $1 million. Like,
well, at least you get to live by the water, though. Here, I mean, like in the woods.
Well, but Connecticut's a great place to live.
It is.
I gotta come visit you. I was gonna come visit you this summer. Now I can't.
I love living here so much better than Virginia. Even though the thrifting was better, I like being closer to New York City. I'm not really a politics museum kind of person, so New York is definitely a better fit for us. And I'm by the water. The Potomac is gross. The Potomac looks like there should be just bodies floating down there every time you go near it. It's not really.
Ew.
It's gross.
Well, once we get back to like when you can go out, you really love living there. You just got to get back out of your house.
I know.
Not wearing a mask. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, this has been so fun.
It's so good to see you in person. I miss you. I wish I could visit you.
I know. I wish I could have come when I was sick. That was awful.
I know. Well, once we can start flying again, whenever that is.
I know.
My son's like, when can I go back to England? Because my son was in England and his friends are there, and he left a whole suitcase at his friend's house with all his clothes because he flew. All the flights were getting canceled because of the stuff going on, and I said, you need to go carry on. So if they tell you can get on another flight, you're not like you got to be able to just jump without your suitcase. Right. So he left like his suit and Like all his like good shoes and stuff in someone's house in a big suitcase. He's got to go back. But I'm like, I don't know if you're coming back this summer. I don't know when we're going to be
yeah.
able to fly anywhere. This
I know.
sucks, but I don't know.
We will do this again because this was fun.
Yes.
Now,
Next
now
time
that I
we do it
figured this
after
out-
5 o'clock so we can drink.
Oh yeah. It doesn't need to be after 5 o'clock. Actually,
Because I have a quarantine rule. I am like, is it 5 o'clock yet? Because I have not started. If I start drinking at 3 o'clock, that might be the end of my whole work day. So
well,
I gotta wait till 5 o'clock to drink.
I have not had alcohol since before Thanksgiving. My migraines. So I've actually been drinking these
Good for you.
Heineken Zero. They're like
Oh,
Bulls. They taste exactly like Heineken. So I can kind of get in the vibe of drinking, but you don't need an ID to buy them. But
wow.
I still am getting migraines, so it's not like that was the main problem. But it's kind of like now that I haven't had it for a while, I don't know.
Oh, we've been having cocktail hour every day.
Well, I'll have a Heineken with you.
Okay.
Or I also bought some of that Welch's like fake. It's like grape juice.
Oh my God. But you know what? That's good because I think that's keeping the weight on too for me. It's like I'm having a drink. And I only have like one drink, but it's pretty much every day just to kind of get through the afternoon.
It's
Um,
an interesting experiment here.
It's been crazy, crazy, crazy. And I hope we look back like a few years from now and be like, oh, remember when we had to stay at home? Hope it's not like a traumatic, like, oh.
There's so many people suffering, and I think that's what makes it so hard is that you see so many people that are suffering, and like
Terrible.
I just want to help everyone. And like we donated to the food bank here.
Yeah.
And like if I were to see somewhere, I need to do some research, but I want to donate somewhere where they're giving kids lunches because, as my previous social worker life, I know that a lot of these kids that are home, they're not being homeschooled. They're not.
No.
So I posted in our next door app and someone posted one place that was maybe doing it. But I just, it's that kind of stuff that
Yeah, me too. A lot of people are suffering. And the lines for the food banks right now are crazy, crazy, crazy. That's why it's so weird that people are buying stuff on eBay, stupid stuff. Like, I'm like, people are really hungry and hurting, and a lot of people are getting sick, and so all that. But hopefully it'll be done sooner rather than later. I don't know. But anyway, didn't want to end on such a sad note.
tell us the favorite thing you've ever found at a thrift store.
Well, this year in 2020, I found a Balenciaga bag. And last year I found an Hermes tote at the bins.
Oh, I did.
A real one. Right. So like I love when I find like the treasure that they miss. And I do think that even though, and this is like how I could leave this. I know a lot of people are like, wow, my thrift store never has anything good. They do. They all do.
For the right stuff.
And my thrift stores are not always so cheap. Like I go to one thrift store where every handbag that looks like anything is $30.
Yeah.
Like crazy. So even at half off, $15 is too much for that. And their shoes are $25 or $30. Anything that looks like anything, like $20, $30 for used. I'm like, these are used shoes.
You're like, not these are not.
I go there all the time, and there's never any resellers there because the resellers walk in and they're like, oh, this place is so expensive. But I always leave with stuff, and I found Pucci there, and I found Missoni, and I found really, really good stuff there that they miss. So you need to be smarter than other resellers, and you need to be smarter than your thrift stores or your garage sales or wherever you're sourcing, because they don't know everything. And if you
and also you have to educate yourself, because there's a lot of things that, there's obvious brands, but there's also like, I never heard of Flax or even Acres Punto or whatever her name is, like that kind of stuff. I mean, those are more mature brands that I would never have looked for. My mother
Right.
never wore those. Like
Right.
they're not brands that I typically would look for. And so, those are brands that I probably have passed many times before before I even knew what they were. So.
Right. So like the thrift store will have the Calvin Klein dress marked at $30 and they'll have the Acris one behind it for $5 because they don't know what it is. So like those thrift stores, they have lists, and you could see my Goodwill has a list like on the rack. And so they're looking for Calvin Klein and Liz Clay, like brands you would never even pick up anymore.
Yeah.
Ralph Lauren or whatever. And they're missing the St. John knits or they miss stuff. So
the best are the Burberry vintage because it says Burberry's. So they
think it's fake.
I did pay up for it. I think it'll sell in the fall, but I bought I did pay $60 for it at Goodwill, but it was a men's trench coat that had the coat and then 2 additional layers in it. Ooh. So it has the plaid
right.
insert, and it has a tan insert to it. So it had all the components and the belt.
That's amazing. Those always sell.
I did buy it for $60, but I figured I'd probably get a couple hundred for it.
Those always will sell.
That was a good thing. And then I found a Longchamp belt here for $3. It was like brand new. It didn't sell for as much, but like I said, I'm not sitting on things now like I would in the past. I'm taking a lot of offers that I would probably counter.
I am too. That's one thing I've changed in my reselling during this crisis is if it's, obviously somebody offers me $10 on a $100 item, I'm not taking it. But if it's close to where I think it should be, I'm taking it. I'm not countering. And I'm making a lot of really good offers. I'm taking and making because
stuff. I've sold a lot of stuff. Like a lot.
I'm selling a lot.
I know we talked earlier about those $3 profits, but if you have $10 or $15 profits and you're selling 20 things a day, I'll take that all day long right now. Right now, I mean, I will, you can get some great deals in my closets right now.
Yeah, me too. I'm making offers to watchers all day long. And I'm making and taking offers.
Changed also. I used to only do it on Sundays.
No.
Now I'm doing it like twice a day. I do it in the
whenever I look at my phone. Yeah.
At night. Yeah.
I've been doing that on my card too.
Oh, on my card. See. All right, let's talk about this, and then I'll let you go because I can hear him on his call in there, and I'm afraid it's going to affect my internet. But so when you list on Mercari and they have that auto price feature, are you using that? I have literally never sold not one thing from their auto.
No, I'm not doing that. But when somebody likes it, I'm sending an offer or I'm lowering the price. And I've really, because I don't have a lot of stuff to list.
Yeah.
I've been casting a wider net and I've been cross-posting everything over there. And I'm in part of their pro seller beta testing right now, which has a lot of issues, but they pretty much migrated my entire eBay store into Mercari for free. That's awesome. And it was sort of a mess, and I'm still going through it. And I don't know how they price stuff. I think they took my eBay prices with the shipping or something. I don't know. But I've been making a lot of sales there, and I've been sending offers. I've been taking offers. I've been lowering prices because if somebody's watching it, and even if you lower it by $1, they get a notification. So I've sold a lot of stuff on there this past 30 days, which I used to sell one thing a month, one thing a week there. And their fees are low.
But when you make an offer on Mercari, though, you know how on Poshmark you can make an offer and then someone 10 minutes later likes it, and you can make the same offer to them.
Yeah, you can.
That's what I don't like about Mercari, because it's
I know.
You have to keep lowering it to make new offers to people.
Well, because I'm part of this pro seller thing, they invited me to join this.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how they found me or what, but I have a list of stuff and I have a contact there now because I was going back and forth with him, giving him my information to make me part of this program.
Yeah.
And so I have a list, and I'm going to either try to get on a phone call with him or send him a list of all the things they could do to improve that site. And that's definitely one. Like on Poshmark, you could send the same offer every day to somebody different, where on Macari you can't. And so they need to work on that. But supposedly that's why they're doing this pro seller. They want to take business away from eBay. So, and 10%, you can't beat the fees because that's cheap. And especially when you sell something like
shipping is so high now.
But I sold
like $10 a ship.
But I sold 2 bags there for $1,800 each.
Yeah.
And
that authentication is awesome.
Right. They authenticated them for free. They sold, the buyer accepted them. So after 3 days, done. And the fee was only $180. On Poshmark, that would have been $360. That's a huge difference. So that 10% starts to really add up if you're selling a lot of stuff on there. And the shipping for under £1 is cheap. Up to £1 is only $4.99.
I've sold a lot of jewelry on there lately.
Yeah. And so the 1 to 3 pounds isn't so great. It's like $11 or something if it's over £1. So like that, the jeans and stuff isn't really a great thing. But if you sell really light stuff or really heavy stuff, it's worth, that's something you could do. So if you can't source right now, you can cross post. So if you're only selling on Poshmark, you should really cross post to somewhere else. If you're only selling on eBay, you should either try Poshmark or Macari. It's free to list on them, so you're not having to spend money on listing fees. And if you don't sell on eBay, I mean, eBay has so many things wrong with it that everyone loves to complain about, but eBay really is the busiest place right now. And they have the most buyers, and my eBay sales are always, as long as I'm listing or relisting every day, I have eBay sales. Where Poshmark, I could share that closet 10 times a day and have no sales, and then I ignore it and have 10 sales. So like there's no method on Poshmark.
You know what we should do? Let's plan on doing this like every week, and then next week we'll talk about eBay. Like we'll literally talk about eBay.
Okay.
I think that between our what do we have? 35 years of
We're so old.
I mean, we've seen a lot, done a lot, and we've both owned other businesses. So, we just haven't done reselling. And you're so smart.
You're so smart too.
You're such a smarty.
You're so smart too. I miss you. I miss you, boss lady.
I know.
And like whenever
times a day
anything happens, like in my house, I was like the other day, I'm like, oh my God. And Crick's like, what's wrong? I'm like, boss lady's dog passed away. Like I don't even say Rebecca, I say boss lady. I know. No, I'm so sorry about your little dog.
In our house because he's not like snoring and snorting and.
But is the other dog like sad, or is he like happy to be the sole baby in the house?
When he died, Winston slept in his crate.
Oh, that's so sad.
He's never gone in there. So it was really sad.
We need to get him a brother or sister.
We're trying, but it's like everyone and their brother are adopting dogs right now. So, we're an adopt not shop household.
Yeah.
And it's hard enough to adopt a dog when it's like a normal time. But my friend Lenny, who she works with a rescue in Ohio, and she said they have like 100 applications a week, and they just can't even keep up with them. But the concern is going to be, what's going to happen? These dogs are home with everyone, and unfortunately, they're going to go back to work. The families are going to go back to work. The kids are going to go back to school. And then, a lot of these dogs are going to have separation anxiety issues and be destroying things and going potty. And unfortunately, I hope this isn't the case, but typically what happens then is there's a large surge in like when you give them back.
They give them back. I know.
Yeah. So
I don't know.
I hope that's not the case, but if it is, I will swoop in and
adopt all the dogs. You have a big house now. You can adopt a lot of dogs.
I know. My landlord, I kind of want to be like, can I have like 12 dogs in here? She'd be like, no. I'm like, but I pay my rent on time, so I should be able to.
Well, that's something, because a lot of people aren't paying their rent on time. So maybe that could be a selling point.
I know. Well, she did say we could get another dog. So
good.
I'll take that for right now.
Okay. All right. Well, this was so fun. Thanks for having me on your show.
You're welcome. And yeah, guys, we if we can coordinate it. The only issue I have is that I told Julie my husband is on Zoom calls all day. And he's actually been on another call for like 15 minutes while we've been doing this, and our internet's been okay. So maybe it won't be an issue if we're on the same bandwidth or whatever.
I'll have to look at his schedule.
I know. It's so annoying. It's
Bye.
my schedule. I come all day. But thanks for watching, everyone. We hope you got tons of information from us. And stay tuned for, I guess now next week, we will do an eBay haul.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah. And how do people sign up for your sourcing school?
You can put the link when you post this on YouTube, but you could just follow me on Instagram, Casa Chic _store, or Google Casa Chic Patreon. And $10 a month, cancel at any time. And my students love it. They're learning a lot. So it's a great little class.
Golden Finger Picker, thank you so much for your donation to our little video here.
Oh, that was so nice.
Yeah.
Oh, Chad. I miss Chad.
Thank you. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. All right. Bye.